Episode 5 of Highly Debatable is live, folks. We appreciate each and every one of you tuning in to the MBL Network's live video debate show. I'm OSU. I'm hanging out with my very own good hairless friend, Sonny Weaver. Sonny, you look a little tired today.
I'm beat right now, but not as beat as you're about to be after the end of this show.
That's the most clever you have ever been in your entire life. I'm proud of you, buddy. I'm proud.
Hashtag Sonny wins. There we go. Off to a 1-0 start. Let's keep it rolling.
Let's just throw up that scorecard now, see how Sonny Weaver, much like the college football committee, the people made the wrong decision. It's fine. It's okay. We'll live with it because I'm a man. Congratulations on that win. Rashard Swan was a great pick for you as he fell all the way down to number 8, something nobody saw coming. Your reaction to the people blindly picking Sonny Weaver?
I think they really knew what was going on, and so
I believe you said that the live crew was never going to pick you.
Well, you know what? They come around. I acquired taste. I'm an acquired taste.
Yeah, they insult. Just remember, Sonny Weaver insulted you last week, folks. Just remember that when you're voting today. And again, as always, if you want to pick a winner, which you should want to, otherwise, I don't really know why you're here, but I mean, I guess congrats. Use in the chat hashtag OSU and hashtag Sonny wins. We'll start tallying those up after the third round. You can get those in the chat if you're watching this on YouTube afterwards. First of all, join us live because it's a lot more fun. But second of all, post it right down below in the comments. We'll tally those up. Sonny, we got a good one this week. We got season 28 underway. Got some big topics. Let's get to round number 1. And round number 1, we're going to talk about that MBL Rookie Draft. You saw the broadcast right here live on the MBL Network. And the question I have for you, Sonny, we've talked about this draft a lot of surprising picks we saw during the broadcast. We saw some steals in the late rounds. So the question I have for you, Sonny, is what team had the best draft in the sense of it took them from maybe not being in the playoff discussion to maybe vaulting them into the playoffs, or at least into the discussions as a playoff contender?
Well, I think the one I look to right now is the San Francisco 49ers. I really like the Rashard Swan pick. Obviously, if anybody followed along, you know that I was on Swan Watch the whole night waiting for the Swan dive, and he fell right there to the San Francisco 49ers. Really happy with that. I think he's going to provide a weapon out there with Babers that gives him a nice attack. I just saw they got in a shootout there with the Carolina Panthers, came up slightly short there. But I think as the year goes on and they get more comfortable, they're going to be doing really well out there. And then you add in the right tackle they took. Name slips my head right now. I want to say Martin maybe. Very powerful guy, kind of a high bench rep. He's going to learn more of a run blocker, but I think they help solidify the offensive line. They get the wide receiver out there that gives their quarterback basically 2 monster targets. I think that's a team that in that division, and we talked about this before, in that division, that draft could get them over the top.
Yeah, that's definitely a division that a good draft can put you over the top there, and you got to love that 1-2 punch. Question with San Francisco for me perpetually is, do they have the right guy throwing the ball out there? And that has been the question in San Francisco for many seasons now. The team that I'm going to say that vaunted them at least into the discussion, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. They had 2 first-round picks. I love that the selection of DeMarcus Whitehead, the cornerback, who I had number 1. They took him with the 4th overall pick. They went with the left end Copeland at number 19. 2 defensive picks. This team struggled to stop other teams last season. They know how to move the ball. It's just about stopping the other teams. So 2 defensive picks there. And then they go into the second round. They pick up Jordan Crisp in the second round, free safety to shore up the back end of that secondary. I love the first 3 picks going all defense, shoring up that defense in that AFC North. But the biggest reason why I think this vaults Baltimore into the discussion is this season. I know that they play in a tough division. The Pittsburgh Steelers, of course, are at the top of that division, and then they also got to compete with the up and down Cleveland Browns. But their schedule, they get to play the NFC West and the AFC East. That's a really favorable schedule for Baltimore. They're 1-1 right now, dropped a close game to the Los Angeles Rams. But I think with those picks and how the AFC has shaped out in the last couple seasons, it wouldn't surprise me if Baltimore was at least in the discussions as we got into week 13 and 14 for a wild card spot. They're not going to win that division as long as the Pittsburgh Steelers are there, but I think that those 3 picks on the defensive side of the ball at least vaulted them into the discussion.
Well, I could try to call you out on the technicality because obviously they're not going to win division in that AFC North. What I'll say about the Baltimore Ravens is I think I had a problem with them not looking to the wide receiver. I know they went with Copeland, and that's a good pick there. But what I'll say is there were some better picks. Wide receiver was a big pick for him. Atkins goes down last year. their first-round wide receiver. They go get Demaryius Thomas in the offseason, so they start the season with Thomas and Atkins. They think they got a great combo, and boom, Demaryius Thomas gets hurt right away. I have questions if they have depth at the wide receiver position that's going to allow them to actually make plays, especially as the season progresses and those injuries do pile up. I think Copeland he was a good pick. I mean, they can't deny that. But with some of the wide receiver options they had there, that's tough for me to say that was the right way to go.
I just think it is tough always when you're looking back at a draft. We've seen 2 weeks of the season. I think if the show came out prior to now, if it came out before the season started, we might be talking about it differently. But yeah, when you look at the Ravens, you see their top 2 receivers go down. I mean, that immediately is like, well, why didn't they go wide receiver? Well, 2020 hindsight sucks. I will also give the Baltimore Ravens credit in that they drafted the best named cornerback in Storm Gary. That name is fantastic. I have no idea if he's going to be any good, but at the very least, he's got a pretty sweet name. We will see for sure as to which one of these teams, if any of these drafts help them vault their way into the playoffs, but let's move on to round 2. This one should be a fun one. And yeah, we're about 2 weeks into the season, folks, so we've already seen some early results. We've seen some early injuries, which we'll get to in our round 3 topic. But, Sonny Weaver, this one's very simple. Let's compare who we got as our division winners right now. I will go first. And let's start in the AFC, okay? AFC East, I like the Buffalo Bills out of the AFC East. I still think they're the best team out there. I could see the New York Jets challenging for it, but I like the Buffalo Bills. I think they're still more talented. That AFC South, I'm going with not your Titans. I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts. I think the Colts, they lost some steam last year when Andrew Luck went down. I think this Colts team with Andrew Luck is a great team, and if he stays healthy, I think the Colts are a very good team. The AFC North, let's not get crazy. It's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. They showed out on MBL Live in Week 1. I think the Steelers are the best team in that division. In the AFC West, I'm going to take the Los Angeles Chargers. Even with that Week 1 loss, they showed some grit. The injuries do concern me, but I still think the Chargers are just too talented to not win that division.
Okay, so let's do where OSU was right and where OSU was wrong.
I like this segment.
Where OSU was right, obviously the AFC North and the AFC West, the Chargers and the Steelers, until proven otherwise, they are the correct pick for those 2 divisions. You really can't even debate that. No one's challenged them yet. I don't see that happening anytime soon, especially by those punk-ass Cleveland Browns. And so anyways.
Hashtag not top 5.
Yes, hashtag. Moving along here, AFC East. I actually am going to go out on a limb and say the New York Jets. I would have preferred Jay not miss the entire season, although Matt Forte is running well. I feel like he can still carry that team. They're going to have to get a little more creative as far as moving the ball down the field on the outside. They still need a couple, they need some weapons out there. But what I'll say to that is I think the Bills are building a nice team out there. I still have some questions about their ability to actually move the ball here going forward. And in the AFC South, well, you're just flat out wrong. The Tennessee Titans dominate the Indianapolis Colts last night, almost hanging a 50 burger on them. That defense is not going to be able to stop anybody. Andrew Luck throwing tons of interceptions. And frankly, the fact you even say that just handed me this segment. So I think
here's all I'll say before you get to your NFC picks. I just want to point out that how'd that Week 1 game go?
Week 1 did not
That's
go
how
well,
I don't think the Tennessee Titans are very good. Sonny Weaver's own Tennessee Titans lost to my Raiders. That's just embarrassing. Who you got in the NFC?
Oh, boy. Okay, so luckily we'll go out to the NFC. So let's head to the NFC North. In the NFC North, I'm going to actually go out on a limb here, and I'm going to take the Detroit Lions. And no one in the world would ever think that's going out on a limb. Obviously, I know the Vikings dominated them here Week 1. But my thought with that is this Lions team is going to get better as they go. They drafted really well. The free agency out there was amazing. Gronkowski and company out there, very good. And I think they just have the depth now that as injuries start mounting up in that division, they're going to have a chance to win down the stretch. You go out to the, let's say, NFC West. So let's head out west, NFC West. That's a tough division, but you know what? I'm going to stick by my prediction I've been throwing out all year long. I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. I think the Seahawks are going to slip down the stretch. I think that team's going to have some injuries. They're an older team. They're going to lack some depth. I like the 49ers, folks, to win the NFC West. Moving to the NFC South. The NFC South, I'm going to go ahead and take the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, the Atlanta Falcons will win the NFC South. I think the offense is starting to click after a couple of seasons. If Matt Ryan can stay healthy, I think they've got a chance to win. And then in the NFC East, let's talk about Ports Mixed Shorts, the Washington Redskins. Yes, folks, I think they dethroned the New York Giants. I think Odell Beckham's injury is going to cost them here over the next couple of weeks. I think the Redskins actually have the Giants figured out, and that's something that's interesting to think about. But I like the Redskins going forward. Give me the Redskins in the East. And OSU, you're wrong. Go.
Sonny Weaver, I didn't think we were allowed to drink live on the air, but some of those picks, I'm just okay. Let's okay. We'll flip the segment. We'll do where's Sonny right and where's Sonny wrong. I actually also have the Detroit Lions winning that NFC North. I think. And the Lions got absolutely obliterated by the Vikings in this first game. But Matt Stafford went down with an injury. Brad Kaya had to come in and play. I still think this Lions team, they didn't win the division last year. The streak got broken. I just feel like the Detroit Lions are going to come back, and they're going to come back with a fury. I think an angry Detroit Lions team with Rob Gronkowski, with their new receivers. I just think that team is too good. I completely 100% disagree with every single one of your other picks. And let's start with the lunacy that was saying the San Francisco 49ers, a team perennially in the bottom 10, is going to win that division. No, the Seattle Seahawks are still the best team in that division. I think the 49ers have done some nice stuff through the draft. I still think this 49ers team is 2 years away, and mostly because they don't have a quarterback. CJ Beathard is not the quarterback to lead this team. They have some great wide receivers, but I don't care who you are, you can have great wide receivers, but if you put me at quarterback, you're not winning, and basically CJ Beathard is just a taller, slightly skinnier me. The Seahawks are still the best team in that division. It's still heads and shoulders above everyone else. Although look out for Arizona. I think Arizona might be able to challenge them a little bit. I still think the Seahawks win that division. NFC East, I love Porter. I love the Washington Redskins. They're off to a great start this year, and I think that injury to OBJ is a minor deal. He'll be out another 4 weeks. The Giants do have a bye week in that, and they don't face the Washington Redskins in that time. I still think the Giants win that division. The Redskins get in as a wild card. It's going to come down to the wire, though. We may be looking at, I believe the Giants and Redskins play late in the season. That may decide the division. I still like the New York Giants. And in the NFC South, I just don't trust this Falcons team enough. And I think with the new quarterback in Carolina and the moves they made in free agency, they shelled out a lot of money on defense to help stop anything. A nosebleed, anything like that. They couldn't stop anything last year. One of the worst defenses. They go out and they sign Hunter on the defensive line. They really shore up that defense. They had a nice draft. I like the Carolina Panthers in that division over the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know if the Falcons get in as a wild card because I think the two wild card teams I have are the Redskins and the Minnesota Vikings. But I like the Panthers in that one. I just can't believe you actually think the 49ers are going to win the division this year.
Well, it's easy to go chalk. We've talked about that last year where you took an easy one. Why? Quick question, OSU, because we got to go back and change it. Why didn't you take the New Orleans Saints to win the South since you said they were going to be your surprise to actually win?
I said the New Orleans Saints were going to get in the playoffs last year. I didn't say they were going to win the division. I think that's a tough division. The Saints certainly could win.
That was the topic last year.
I think
who was going to go from worst to first.
And then I watched their draft, and I don't think the Saints did enough in the draft to do it because
you're wishy-washy.
No, I actually pay attention. Unlike you, is picking a team that hasn't had more than 3 wins to go win the NFC West, a division that has been one of the worst, and they can't get wins in that division. And you think the 49ers with CJ Beathard at quarterback is going to come through in that division? What are you talking about?
Oh my God, you just go chalk. It's all right. You're uninventive,
Carolina Panthers didn't win it. That's not chalk. So here's the difference. You say chalk, I say correct. You're just going wrong, okay? I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win the NFC East. I can do that too. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to win. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win that AFC South. I can pick bad teams to win.
So you basically did the 49ers thing. You went with the Colts, who just got demolished last night. So I guess we really don't care about anything in reality.
And the Colts were in the playoffs last year, weren't they? So one game, okay, I am better than you. The Raiders are better than the Titans because that one game matters, okay? Got it, done. You said it here, the game matters. Let's go to round 3.
You're wrong.
And in round 3, I don't know why the bell didn't really feel like going on. Hold on, let's flip back. We got to hear that bell. That bell really signals everything. There's the bell. That's much better, folks. All right, round 3, we've already seen a couple of big injuries this season, Sonny. We're 2 weeks in. We've seen injuries ravage teams. Big names going down. So, Sonny, I'll give you the first go at this one. Which injury is the biggest deal? Which injury puts the team in the worst position? Which one's going to have the worst effect?
Well, what I could easily do is take the easy way out on this, and OSU will probably do that and say Joey Bosa, because he's the best player that's hurt right now. What I'm going to do is say the best player that's missing from the most important role here, and I'm going to go with Julius Peppers and the Cleveland Browns. And the reason I'm going to do that is because basically Peppers
okay, well, I'm going to stop you for 1 second. Sonny has already lost. Jabril Peppers is hurt. Julius Peppers, I think, retired 2 years ago.
It's been a long
Point OSU!
We'll go ahead. Anyways, Jabril Peppers of the Cleveland Browns. And the issue that Cleveland has is their secondary hasn't been able to stop anybody all year long. They found some secondary help. They went out, they signed Roby. They went ahead and they drafted a cornerback in the draft. But Peppers is still the lifeblood of this team. And so without Peppers in the back of that defense, I think they're going to struggle going forward. They're in a kind of tight race right now. Obviously, it's early in the season. Two wins to no losses here for the Browns, and they're tied with the Steelers. But I think if the Cleveland Browns want to get over the hump, they're going to need that secondary to show up, especially when they play the Steelers. And frankly, that's something they've just not been able to do. So lack of Jabril Peppers
twice.
It's going to be a little bit of a problem.
Okay, well let's start with Joey Bosa is not the best person who's injured. That's Odell Beckham Jr. is the best player who is injured right now. Just statistically, he is the best. But Joey Bosa is a big injury. I'm going to go with. There are a lot of injuries out there. I think the New York Giants are hurt, not just because OBJ is hurt, but because Sterling Shepard is also hurt. That's two veteran wide receivers out there. But for me, Jay Ajayi going down for the entire season is the big injury here. And it's because of the same things I mentioned in the division segment, why I think the Bills are going to win. Jay Ajayi was the cornerstone of this free agent class for the New York Jets. They thought that he was going to finally bring a rushing attack to the Jets. And Matt Forte is a very serviceable running back, but I think Jay Ajayi, losing him for the entire season. All these other injuries, I mean, Kansas City has some big ones. Mahomes and Averill are out. All these other injuries are 5, 6, 7 weeks. Not saying that that's not important. As a team who currently lost Derek Carr and Jalen Richard, I know that how big those injuries are.
Shameless plug,
but I didn't say that it was a big deal anyways. But Ajayi being gone for the entire season, Matt Forte is good, but I think Ajayi made that team definitely a division favorite. Now without him, I think that makes the New York Jets miss the playoffs. I think this Jets team goes under 500 without Jay Ajayi because they don't have the passing attack to keep up that offense, and Matt Forte just isn't good enough.
Okay, so Matt Forte was like top 5 in rushing last year, so you're insane. Second off, let's talk about that. So Ajayi goes down, and they've got Matt Forte as backup. Name some of the backups for some of these other big names hurt. I would say actually the Jets are most equipped to deal with an injury, especially that injury being a halfback, because they have a very good, very serviceable halfback waiting in the wings. You know, Ajayi was a kind of a luxury pick there in free agency for him. I think Forte is going to be fine this year. He's going to rush for 1,000 yards, but then I got to wonder, what are some of these other teams going to do? OSU, literally, I could have said anybody, and I would have been better off than you. You picked the one team that had the one injury that had a great backup. So
no, I picked the one team that the injury is the biggest deal because I think this Jets team was it was going to win the division with JJ. Now they're not.
And they'll do it with Matt Forte.
Well, let's also point out that the Jets also have to face off against the AFC North and the NFC. I believe it's the NFC East. And they don't have the defense to stop those teams either. But Jay Ajayi...
So Jay's playing defense now for the Jets.
No, Jay Ajayi, it would allow them to keep up with the defense that has so many holes in it. Something the Titans knew when they were losing to the Oakland Raiders. 6 interceptions by your quarterback. That's what the Jets have at quarterback. Lots of I'm sorry, 5 interceptions. I don't want to slander you. It was only 5 interceptions and a fumble.
You're not slandering me, sir.
At the end of the day, that's what Matt, as we say here on the network, Murkowski does. He throws picks. They need a running game. Matt Forte is cool and all, but I don't see Matt Forte lasting throughout the season. I think Jay Ajayi was the key to this team, and it put them in the position to win that division. Now without them, I think the Buffalo Bills run away with this one, and the New York Jets have a top 10 pick once again.
Well, you're wrong.
All right, well, easy enough. Let's get to shout-outs. I can't wait to hear your shout. I'm very excited. And again, folks, we're after round 3, so feel free to vote in the chat. Hashtag OSU wins, hashtag Sonny wins in the chat, or if you're watching on YouTube afterwards, just post it right down below in the comments. Sonny, shout-out time. I'll take the first one on this one. I got to give a big shout-out to Rex Dixon and the Madden 18 developers for having one of the funniest glitches I have ever seen. If you missed our Week 1 game you saw between the Steelers and the Chargers, an unfortunate glitch. We saw the Pittsburgh Steelers get the ball back, a chance to seal it, and after the kickoff, they were on the 20-yard line, and they had 1st and goal. That's a tough first down play there. Having to get 80 yards and 4 downs. That's like backyard football. There are no first downs. You have 4 downs to get in the end zone. Let's go. So shout out to Rex Dixon and the crew. I love this game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. That glitch provided me one of the most humorous moments I've seen.
Shout out to my main man, Deca Dog.
Oh, boy.
So our good friend Deca, there was a lot of chatter early on before the season started about his ability or inability, I guess you could say, to throw interceptions. And he tried to set the line at under 40 interceptions. Well, folks, I hope you bet the over on that line.
Boy.
Right now, 4.5 interceptions a game. He is now on pace to throw 72 interceptions in the year. Deca Dog, run the ball, quit throwing it. Thank you, buddy.
That Sonny, I'm no football expert, but 72 interceptions, that's not very good, is it?
Not quite.
Could he be the first one to have 2 quarterbacks both go for 40 interceptions?
That would actually be impressive.
That would be. We'll keep watch on that. We'll keep Deca Watch 2017 going here on Highly Debatable. We appreciate everybody out there tuning in to Highly Debatable live here on a Sunday afternoon. Sonny, for God's sakes, get some sleep, man. Like you look tired.
Oh, I definitely will. I'm going to bed after this. Wake me up next week.
Yeah, get some hair too. All right, we will see you guys later here on Highly Debatable. Hit that subscribe button down below, and go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Bomber League. We got MBL Live tomorrow night. Sonny, I believe you're going to be on that call if you're conscious.
Maybe if I'm awake, I'll wake up for it just to see this one. You know, there's a lot of storylines revolving around this one. I know the Arizona Cardinals kind of faked out the Detroit Lions. Detroit really wanted David Johnson.
Really wanted.
Those really sneaky Arizona Cardinals pulled a fast one on them and tagged them real quick there. So
you don't pull the fast one on Bomber. You don't do that.
Grudge match coming. Here we go.
Tomorrow night, I believe we're looking at 8 o'clock Eastern time, folks. Tune into MBL Live with yours truly, OSU, and yours slightly less truly, Sonny Weaver, here on the MBL Network pregame show. And all, hit that subscribe button down below so you know each and every time you go live. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of the NFL slate. We'll see you tomorrow night for MBL Live right here on the MBL Network.